How do you verify the identity of someone who's requested data from your company? That's what we're going to be talking about in this edition of Privacy Awareness by Privacy Proficient.
Privacy Proficient.
First, let's talk about something that you definitely should not do. Don't ask for additional data or information that you don't need. So for example, let's say you've got a website, users log in with a username and password, and one of your users has asked you for the information or data that your website has on them. And you respond by requiring that they verify who they are, but the mechanism you require is you require them to send you a copy of their passport or their driver's license or some other identifying document. Don't do that. You've just escalated the problem by requiring additional data, maybe sensitive data, that you're going to have to deal with in a careful manner. That's not needed. Remember the concept of data minimization. So there's a concept in privacy that you need to minimize the data to what you actually need and not grab or gather more data that you don't need. So using that principle, ask only for what you do need, what's necessary in minimized manner to verify the identity of the requester. A good rule of thumb when verifying the identity of a requester for information from your company is to try to use the same method that was used to gather the data in the first place. So if a username and password was used to require people to log in to a website, then use the username and password. Essentially challenge them to provide the correct username and password. If two-factor authentication was used with, say, a phone call or a text to that person to verify that that is the correct person, the person who's requesting, then go ahead and do that. But generally speaking, as a rule of thumb, as a default, think about using the same method that was used to get their information in the first place in order to verify the identity of the requester. So if you're unfamiliar with what to do in terms of implementation and verifying identity, one consideration should be to reference international standards. So for example, the United States has something called NIST, the National Institute of Science and Technology, that provides guidelines on technology. And one of the guidelines they provide is on verifying identity. So you can refer to that. Now, if it's too technical, then work with someone who can help you. And a technical person can understand these guidelines and then implement them, or tell you that some of them can be implemented or some of them are necessary and other ones are not. But at least you have a framework that can be referenced. And this is excellent if you ever get audited by a regulator, because you can point to the international standards that you're aspiring to or that you've implemented in order to verify the identity of a requester. So what do you do when you cannot verify someone's identity? When they're requesting information but you can't verify that they are the person they claim to be? Well, you can refuse to provide the data that they're requesting, but you can't stop there. You need to give them a reason that you're refusing their request, and you need to do two other things. You need to provide them with options where they can go in terms of regulator for that particular data. And second of all, if there's a court that they can go to, because they may have a legitimate reason to get some data, but it's sort of outside the normal path. So you need to give them those two options, plus you need to give them a reason that you're refusing to provide the data. So let's summarize. When you're verifying the identity of someone who's requested data from your organization, ask only for the minimum amount necessary to verify their identity. That's number one. Consider using the same methodology that you used to get the data in the first place. That's number two. Three, reference international standards if you're confused on how to implement these things, and use experts who know how to implement the international standards to get it done correctly. And four, remember, you can refuse to provide the data to a requester, but you need to tell them why and give them options as to what they can do and where they can turn. Thank you for watching this edition of Privacy Awareness by Privacy Proficient. If you like what you've seen, please click on like. Please put any comments that you have in the sections below. Click subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any of our future videos. And thank you for watching. We'll see you next time on Privacy Awareness by Privacy Proficient.
Privacy Proficient.